Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Indecisive Cinema. I'm lisping. I'm Carlos Fernandez.
And I'm Jeremy Knight.
And today we got to talk about a lot of things. So, Jeremy, what do you want to start off before giving them the big reveal?
The big reveal? What's the big reveal? Actually, I'm not on the same page.
Our top 10 list.
Okay. That's the big reveal?
I mean, unless you...
We're going to talk... We have a few movies to talk about, and like 5 films or 6 films. Most of those being new, and then we're going to talk about a little bit of controversy, and then we're going to do our top 10 A24 films.
A24, yeah.
So that's kind of the episode. We're going to get right into it. This is episode 43. 43. We've done 43 of these.
43 episodes over the
course of
7 years. 7 years. Yeah.
However many years.
Yeah. 2014, yeah. 7.
But yeah, glad to be doing it.
Yeah, no, amen. I love doing this with you, bro.
Hopefully we can keep doing it with the Delta variant getting crazy again.
Don't jinx that.
Yeah, but we're here for now.
Yeah, for now, right?
And we're going to talk about the James Gunn controversy. So, yeah. I mean, it's not, you can call it controversy. It's mostly on Twitter, really, it seems like. But so basically, in 2019, Scorsese came out and said that the Marvel, and for those that are listening, you probably are aware of this, as am I, or as I'm sure you are. Yeah. He said something, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along the lines of the Marvel movies are basically not real cinema, and they're kind of formulaic, which is partially fair, but also partially untrue in my opinion. I think we did an episode on this at the time.
We did talk about that, yeah.
And James Gunn kind of came out today because he's releasing Suicide Squad, and essentially said that, I don't know if he actually says this in the quote, but I'll get into it. I'm going to read the quote real quick, which says from James Gunn, "I just think it seems awfully cynical that he would keep coming out against Marvel, and then that is the only thing that would get him press for his movie. So he just kept coming out against Marvel so that he could get press for his movie. He's creating his movie in the shadow of the Marvel films, and so he uses that to get attention for something that he wasn't getting as much attention as he wanted for. He's one of the greatest filmmakers who's ever existed. I love his movies. True. I can watch his movies with no problem." And he said a lot of things I agree with. There are a lot of things that are true about what he said. There are a lot of heartless, soulless spectacle films out there that don't reflect what should be happening. Fair. Yeah. I can't tell you the amount of times I've talked to film directors before they went and made a big movie and they said, "Hey, we're in this together. Let's do something different with these big movies. Let's make something different than everything that's come before them." And then see them cater to every single studio whim and be grossed out, frankly. So I guess he does mostly agree with the Scorsese stuff there in that quote, but the idea that that Scorsese's like coming out and saying these things to promote his own movie is the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's Martin Scorsese. He doesn't really need to promote his own films. You know, what came
out in 2019? Then I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. I mean, it's 2019, so it wasn't The Irishman. Yeah, that
might have been. I don't know.
Now I'm gonna look it up because I thought he was going to talk about the controversy that James Gunn the other day said that anyone could play Iron Man, and I know that pissed off a lot of people. But I mean, with this, let me see. Scorsese.
Make sure you're on mic, by the way.
Scorsese, 2019.
I got Carlos some headphones today, so hopefully that'll help with the.
Yeah, I keep
him being off mic.
So
he likes to look down and away.
Yeah, because I'm reading. 2019 is. Wait, what?
It might have been something he said recently. Maybe I didn't do enough research, or I read the wrong thing.
I remember you did say 2019. Oh, you're talking about James Gunn said it recently?
James Gunn said this today, or yesterday, or something.
So 2019 was Rolling. No, yeah, you're right. It was The Irishman. But then, I agree because The Irishman was like hyped up, really big, and
I still haven't seen it. It's a 3.5-hour film and it's on Netflix. And if it had come out in the theater, I would have seen it though. To be fair,
that's right. It didn't have
maybe
like
it did
for
a
small engagement. Yeah.
But that was in the middle of COVID though, too. So I don't even know if theaters were fully open or if I don't know when that came out or in the middle.
No.
I guess 2019 would have been before.
There was no COVID. It actually came out, but it was like you said, it was like a week long in theaters,
which was weird. And then Netflix,
yeah, because of Netflix, and we could actually roll into the other one. So yes, I think that was stupid for him to say because, like I said, Scorsese, The Irishman, Pacino, De Niro, Pesci. I mean,
It sells itself.
You don't need to say, "Oh, well, I'm going to talk bad about Marvel."
Unless he's talking about his most recent film that he's trying to promote by talking shit. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, I will say this: Scorsese, a great director, one of the top in my top 10. I mean, there are films that come and go. You know, I mean, his era where everyone's lining up out the door to see his films has kind of waned. And now they're art house films or period piece films, and people will go see them. But those are diehards, you know.
Sure.
But with The Irishman, again, yeah, that was kind of silly to say because that was, like you said, sold itself. That was everywhere. I mean, like you said, we both wanted to see it, but we were like, we took it for granted. It's on Netflix. It still is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't understand why he came out unless he's trying like he's doing that.
Yeah, that's almost what it seems
Even
like.
though again, Suicide Squad is getting great buzz and it's getting great reviews. So I mean, I know that like we talked about this HBO's track record of we're going to release a brand new movie that's supposed to be in theaters on our streaming service, and that really kind of flopped. I mean, I think outside of In the Heights, and again, personally, King Kong, Godzilla, however the order is. Those were the only two good ones out of all their lineup, you know. But this one I'm really geared up to see, you know.
Sure.
This was his fuck you to Marvel or Disney for firing him, and you know now look at he's back and he's doing two more films for them. But I mean,
yeah, I want to don't let me forget though. Speaking of Disney, I'd like to talk about the Scarlett Johansson stuff.
That's what I was going to say. That could lead into that because it's interesting with that. But I mean, if you want to talk more about.
It was just interesting to me that James Gunn would come out and say that.
And then, like you
silly.
said, riding on the heels of the opening of Suicide Squad on HBO. Maybe he did. I mean, I don't know.
I agree more with James Gunn than Scorsese. Like, I think, and I even like have been watching some of the Marvel stuff recently for the first time in a while. Because I still haven't seen Black Widow, but we watched like Spider-Man: Homecoming and Thor: Ragnarok again, and like those movies are really fun and they're different, really and they're not. I don't think they're formulaic, and I mean they still play it safe a little bit because they have to cater to everyone,
of course,
you know, and that is a challenge, obviously. But I think they break through that, and I don't know. It still irks me that Scorsese's so just outspoken against the Marvel stuff, and apparently DiCaprio has said some things, or no, Matt Damon. Not DiCaprio.
Matt Damon, interesting.
Yeah, of all the people, it's like to just talk shit about how it's ruining movies. It's like whatever, man.
He was in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I don't get it. Whatever. I mean, I think they're keeping theaters open, if anything. Like because
that segues into the next part.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I mean, Black Widow is doing well on its own, but I understand what Scarlett Johansson's saying, and
no, I'm completely with her on this.
And then now she just opened the door forever because now Emma Stone is coming up saying, "Yeah, you screwed me over with Cruella."
Yeah,
and how everyone's going to be saying, I don't want my movie to be Disney Plus access until say 6 months down the line, which that's how it should have been, because that's what they did with Mulan, and when they started out, Mulan came out in March, right when COVID hit. And then they released it in September, you know, on Disney Plus, and then went free Christmas time. I agree with Scarlett Johansson. I mean, again, it was like I was talking about with Rhonda, and I was saying, think about it. You know, they have it in their contracts that, you know, especially her, she's the executive producer. So if it plays in theaters, she gets more money, there's more revenue. But Disney is doing Disney. They're like, well, we can get away with not paying theaters to show it. I mean, because if the movie wanes, it'll still be on Disney Plus, our streaming service, and it'll fall out of theaters, you know, and that's kind of fucked up what they did, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are like really upset at Scarlett Johansson for it, including like Kevin Feige. What's his name?
Kevin Feige is the leading Marvel.
There was an article saying that he was really upset with Scarlett Johansson about that. I don't know how upset. I didn't do a lot of research on that either. But still, it's just like it's frustrating to me that people are so upset at Scarlett Johansson. Like, she's got so much, she doesn't have enough money, and you're like,
but that's not the
calm down. It's like
I mean,
do you want Disney to have more money? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.
That's what I'd say. That's what I said to Ron. I'm like, yes, Scarlett Johansson has millions in the bank. But they have zillions. I mean, you can't even say trillions because they have more than that.
Why? I mean, if you were in her position, you'd do the same thing.
Exactly.
We're talking about millions of dollars here. It's
exactly. Exactly.
And it's perfectly fair. I think it's absolutely fair that, that we're in that she's in that position. I earned it. It's not fair that she's in that position. I misspoke. Sorry. Carlos got a phone call. Distracted me.
Sorry.
But I think it's ridiculous that people are upset because she's too rich that she shouldn't be suing people for money that she deserves. I think that's absurd. Because again, if the movie had only released in theaters, it would have been a much bigger financial box office hit. Of course, which is where she makes her money on her contracts.
Exactly, it's a principle. Because I'm glad she did this. Because why did Emma Stone do it? I don't know who was really in the other ones that they released, but. Now she did that, so now everyone can say, "Yeah, I agree with her." Let the movie play in theaters because nowadays, or at
least restructure the contract so that there's some kind of benefit
monetary from the streaming.
Maybe there is some, but it's not the same as if it was just playing in theaters.
Yeah.
And it's we're talking about Disney here. It's not like A24,
But yes, I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, okay. Who gave Disney the power to say, okay, well, it's in your contract, but so what? You know what I mean? Okay, this was my thought before that happened. My daughter's texting me. The thought is this: we already knew that, when I was a kid, and maybe even when you were a kid. I'm trying to think back when you were younger too. But when I was a kid, a movie came out in theaters. We talked about Scorsese. Classic movies would be in theaters for a year.
Yeah, easily.
The Godfather was in theaters for 2 years. Jaws was in the theater for 3. Exorcist was in the theater for a year. They played until no one would go see it anymore, and that was it. And then they would put it on TV or whatever. But even when I was younger, it's that's how it was. Up until I guess when you were growing up, how they did it was okay. The movie will play, from now till 6 months. No movie even goes 6 months. No. But if it's a big hit, it may.
Unless it's Avengers.
Yeah.
Endgame or something.
Yeah, something like that, which that actually almost went 6 months. And so you let the movie play, and then it goes on the video. And then you make your money, that's all in everyone's contract since 1999. They get money off the sales of videos, Blu-rays, DVDs, whatever. And then it was so you already knew that it only had a shelf life of 6 months. Mm-hmm. So, the actor's well, I'm going to get paid, for 6 months. And then after that, I don't know if they have it in their thing. They get a couple of bucks off the DVD sales, but if they do, that's that. But then Disney comes along and says, "Oh, we're just gonna put it on streaming the same day,"
no question gonna hurt the box office.
Yeah, no, even saying, "Oh, let me say to everybody, listen, guys, we're gonna tell you right now, we're gonna start doing this." It was just I understand how she got upset. Where she's I knew she probably knew about it because they announced it was gonna be on premiere a month before, maybe even. But even then, I guess maybe she felt okay, and everyone else, it's going to last. Because remember, that movie, even on Disney Plus, still brought $60 million on the opening day to the box office. And it's still number one right now, that I think, 3 weeks later or whatever. But again, how dare they, take food out of everyone's mouth and then say, well, it's our movie. What are you going to do?
I'm upset that she's upset that we did this to her. Poor, I don't get it. It's ridiculous.
ScarJo.
But thankfully, at least it was a big enough hit that hopefully she made enough money, and hopefully she makes more off a little.
Yeah, if she sues them, and it's going to, like you said, it's going to change the game, and now people start getting points off the Premier Access thing, streaming. But we talked about this last year when we had our one show before it ended. I don't like what we did in August. I don't like the whole streaming thing because, and we've talked about this a million times, I love going to the movies.
Sure.
I love sitting down opening night or seeing it, in its run, if it's a big film. I love the popcorn. I love, chilling there. I grew up with that, and you did too. You're a film fan. And
I can't go more than a couple weeks without going to a movie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember you used to go almost every day, twice a day.
Yeah, when I had Movie Pass.
Yeah, when you had the Movie Pass. But it's now it's scary to know that Disney's saying, well, I don't even want it to go to theaters. It's just going to come on TV, and you're going to pay me $30 and $30 a head, and I think that's disgusting. Honestly, they're saying, well, we made the decision that we're not even going to put it in theaters, and if we do, it's going to be a limited time, 1 week, and that's it. And I don't agree with that. I don't. So.
It's garbage. But what can you do? I'm not in control of that, but still interesting to talk about. So I guess we can get into our movies. We have 6 on the list. 2 of them are older films that I just rewatched recently and wanted to chat about. The first one being Take Shelter, which is directed by, going totally blank on his name. You can look that up. Well, it's got Michael Shannon, Jessica Chastain, director of Mud, Shotgun Stories, and he also did Midnight Special, I think.
Midnight Special, yes.
And Loving, I think. There's a pretty good catalog of films from him, if I remember correctly.
So that's directed by, and the winner is Jeff Nichols.
Jeff Nichols, that's right. My bad for forgetting that.
And you said everything, Midnight, Mud, Loving, you got them.
Got the whole list.
You got them all, bro.
I don't know what happened. He hasn't made a movie in a couple of years, though. Then
The Long Way Back Home, 2018. You're right. Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I've never even heard.
A really interesting filmmaker, though.
Oh no, it's a short, so don't worry.
Oh, gotcha.
Loving was his last big film. 2016. Jeez.
Yeah, so he's. I don't know what happened. But Take Shelter is spectacular.
It's a great film, yeah.
I rewatching that again. I think Michael Shannon gives just an incredible performance. Same with Jessica Chastain, but I think Michael Shannon's the standout here.
Yeah, definitely.
He's obviously the lead, but still, like, I just think like the dynamic between him and his daughter and his wife, and him slowly losing his sanity and questioning whether or not. I guess for those that haven't seen the film, we're going to spoil it, I think, because both of us have seen it. It's 10 years old. But he essentially starts having these visions or dreams that are like really visceral, and like has him like waking up in the middle of the night, kind of in a panic, just like sweating through the bed or wetting the bed even, and just kind of it leaves him thinking that something really bad is going to happen. And most of the dreams open with a storm.
Yeah. And
so he decides to build out the old storm shelter in the backyard, and kind of does so without the permission of his wife. And it's probably not the best financial decision. So a lot of those around him begin to worry. And it's just this terrific, like slow burn kind of backwoods thriller about this family man that starts losing it, and we just don't know whether or not it's his mom has schizophrenia or is known to have schizophrenia. And there's this great moment that's in the trailer if you watch it where she says like, "Are you okay?" He says, and there's this really long pause. And he goes, "Yeah," and it's just a fantastic moment. And I just think I don't know, it's a moment with him and his mom, and I don't know. I love the ending of it. I think the ending is just spectacular.
I remember you this was like your champion film. You loved this movie. You talked this movie so much.
Yeah.
And I finally gave in and I saw it. And I agree. I mean, I talk about this all the time. I'm a 70s cinema fan. And that ending was amazing. And it's a great 70s ending. I mean, this is, and I mean, again, we're spoiling things, but when we realized that he's not crazy and he's 100%, I thought that was the whole
moment between him and his wife.
Yeah, when he has that big speech in the church before the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, it's an amazing scene. There's a storm coming, and he starts yelling, and he gets like stuff on, like food on him in the scene because he like slams a table down, and it freaks everyone out. It's just Michael Shannon's really spectacular.
He's an amazing actor,
and I feel like he doesn't get enough leading roles, and it's just nice to have a whole movie where you get to watch him the whole time because he's a theater actor. Same thing with I think Jessica Chastain is too.
She started,
and I just think he just eats up the screen presence. I mean, this is incredible. So if you haven't seen Take Shelter, the only reason I want to talk about it, I just wanted to recommend it again for those that haven't seen it recently. I think it holds up. And same thing with the next film on our list, which is Drive, which, as you know, is another film I've talked up over the years.
Yes, you did.
Holds up, though, gotta say.
And again, I don't mean, Jeremy, we don't differ in the aspect that, I like Drive a lot. I just thought that also slow burn, like the first half of the film, there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of character building, a lot of story building.
I would argue there's not a lot of dialogue, but...
well, yeah, I guess, but I mean story building, character building.
Sure.
And then once it hits,
there's like an explosive
and then
scene.
The last 45 minutes of the film is just nonstop, and I love it. And it's like, and I mean now 10 years more than it is. How long is it? 10 years.
How many
old?
times have you seen it though?
Twice.
Okay,
I have seen it twice.
So you've seen it more than once to be able to know where it's going and kind of, and then watch that because I think that first half I agree is a little slow, especially the first time you've seen it. Yeah. But I think then it picks up, and I think it justifies that opening.
Oh
half.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I don't know, like the tender moments between him and I forget the kid's name in it, but
the girl? Yeah,
it's Carey Mulligan,
Carey
right?
Mulligan,
Carey Mulligan's son, and just kind of I don't know. There's an interesting dynamic there that you don't. It's kind of it's a romance, but I don't know. She has a kid, and her husband's in prison. We find out, and I think that's just a different dynamic. You also have just a terrific cast. You have Oscar Isaac, Carey Mulligan, Ryan Gosling, obviously my favorite.
It's also 10 years ago, yeah.
And Ryan Gosling just chews up the visual scenery as well. That dude's just a gorgeous man on screen. And Bryan Cranston, Albert Brooks, and Hellboy, what's his name?
Ron Perlman,
who's hilarious in that. I mean, great, just knockout cast, and a really slick looking film, which is obviously what it's been praised for.
I love his
years.
What's it, Nicholas
Winding Refn.
Yeah, his color palette's always amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He always has some great color. But
I think he brings that to Neon Demon and Only God Forgives as well. Mm-hmm. Neon Demon being probably one of his strongest films, but Drive is, I think it really holds up. Marissa liked it a lot too.
Was it her first time?
It was her first time watching it. Yeah. So same thing with Take Shelter. She liked both. I don't know if she liked Take Shelter as much because it is a little bit slower. But yeah, she was in a Drive. So yeah, if you haven't seen Drive in a few years, it's worth checking out again. I've been rewatching a lot of stuff in the past few months, just things that I haven't seen in years. And some stuff isn't holding up, I couldn't off the top of my head. I'd have to look at my list. I don't know, even Manhunter didn't hold up as well as I remember.
Manhunter with Michael Mann?
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Not a bad film by any means.
No, it's a great film.
But definitely a little cheesy.
Now.
And a little dated,
1986.
Even just in the way that the cops treat women in the film and stuff like that is a little rough, in 2021. Yeah, I mean, I think Drive is one of those that definitely, and Take Shelter, both were standouts of the films that I've watched recently. So if you haven't seen those, that's all we had on our list of older films.
Yeah.
So now we can get into. Actually, let me do Pig first.
Okay, yeah.
And then we'll do the Fear Street trilogy, just so I can take a break.
Yeah.
Because I have 3 films to talk about. And you do too, but it's a trilogy.
Yeah.
So the next one on the list is Pig, which is where do I start? Nicolas Cage owns a truffle pig in the woods. He lives out in the middle of nowhere. We discover that his wife passed away. I don't know that we ever figure out what quite happened with her. But he's obviously grieving and is living this kind of just life in isolation in the middle of the woods. And one day men come and steal the truffle pig. And he essentially goes on what you'd expect to be kind of a traditional Nick Cage revenge flick in the realm of something like Mandy or something. You can name any of the revenge films with Nicolas Cage, but it's not that at all. It's definitely a more subdued, laid back film about cooking and the high-end truffle industry. And Alex Wolff plays the son of a mogul in the Portland cooking world, and it gets very bizarre. I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying this, but the film climaxes with a scene involving cooking, and it's very quiet and subdued, and not at all what you'd expect from Nicolas Cage. And I think listing all those things, I think, is what's certainly the positive about the film. I think it's subversive in the fact that it just isn't what you expect from Nicolas Cage. He's very quiet, very stoic, but not in a way that's campy, like you'd expect for even like a movie like Mandy is up until the middle of the movie is another kind of stoic role from him until he loses his goddamn mind. Yeah. Have you seen Mandy?
Oh, I love Mandy.
Oh yeah, I do too. I like Mandy a lot more than Pig.
I mean, for what you're saying, I mean, sounds really interesting. How you said
it's interesting in the fact that you don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
I'd only seen, maybe I'd seen the trailer, but I definitely was just going off of the fact that it had positive reviews and it pretty strong. I think it has a 97%. People are calling this thing like the best film of the year, and I got to be totally honest, I don't get it. Not because I think it's a bad film, because I think on a technical level it's really strong. It's shot really well. The characters are all really well drawn. Alex Wolff plays a kind of a son that lives in the shadow of his own father, kind of works in the same industry but isn't allowed in a lot of the same places as his father, and they're not allowed to step on each other's businesses and toes, and he's kind of a spoiled rich kid that has a lot of heart, that you kind of find like you grow to really like this character, and I think the strong direction definitely helps, and the strong I think there's really strong, well written characters here, but it's a very odd film from a narrative standpoint. There's a point where we go to an underground fight club for homeless people, I think, or people involved in the cooking industry, like wealthy people that watch people fight, which doesn't feel like it has anything to do with anything that happens in the film, thematically or narratively. Like it just feels completely out of place. And again, like that, and that happens early enough in the film that having no idea what this was when I went in to see it, I thought that it would go in a completely different direction. Nick Cage loses his pig, goes after the people that get it, and ends up in a fight club. I was like, all right, hey, where are we going from here? I'm on board with this.
Definitely.
Not that I want this film to be campy, because it doesn't need to be, but I do feel like it needed a stronger thematic narrative. It's a film that's about loss and grief, and it deals with a lot of heavy things, but then there's these strange monologues about Portland going underwater, and these just bizarre tangents that I just didn't quite grasp. And it's not from a standpoint of like, I understand what's happening in the movie. It's not a very complex plot, but people say things and you're like, what? Often, at least Nicolas Cage does for sure. Like in that particular monologue. It's a film that's baffled me since I left the theater.
When did you see it?
Several weeks ago.
Okay. When it came out.
Yeah, when it came out. Marissa didn't get it either. We both walked out of the theater going, I don't know that I liked that. I could be convinced that it's good, but it left me emotionally very cold. And I know everybody praises it, and maybe if I saw it again, and I'd be willing to see it again.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd have a different feeling about it, but it wasn't strong enough narratively to keep my interest. And we'll talk about another movie later where I feel the same thing about.
Yeah.
I could be convinced that it's good, but I'm not. I wasn't. I was left very cold. Yeah. But I feel very conflicted about these feelings.
Go see it again, bro.
People are calling it the best film of the year, and I get it.
I definitely now want to see this film with a passion, but I mean, the way you're painting it, I mean, there's so much good. But you're also kind of negative in there as well, because we're both used to Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage.
Sure.
And this is, you're saying,
best coming off of Face Off and Mandy, and I mean, he does a lot of garbage too. Those are, I think, his strongest. Yeah.
New Orleans.
And I didn't expect this film to be that. I didn't need it to be. So it's not it's not fair to criticize something for what it's not. I don't think in terms of for comparison's sake. But it baffled me through and through. Like, okay, so first of all, I didn't realize that there's like an underground truffle industry.
But that's interesting in itself, yeah.
But the inner workings of it were confusing enough to me that for the first 30 minutes, it felt like a post-apocalyptic film.
And
that he's and if you watch the trailer, it kind of comes across that way. Yeah. He's living in isolation in the woods, and but there's this magical pig that can
and then he did some John Wickian thing, for vengeance for the pig, like in John Wick is the dog.
Well, that would be more interesting. I mean, I like that this film is very quiet and subdued. I like that, but I just emotionally it didn't get me to the place that apparently everyone else's reaction to it was. Especially with Alex Wolff's father, like the things involving his father. I like the scenes with the two of them, but I didn't find there's a climax involving him that didn't satisfy me emotionally. Mm-hmm. And I could see how it could go the other way, because people were like put to tears by this movie. I've read just raving reviews about it. I mean, I just didn't get it.
Well, you watch it again.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to watch this film. Definitely going to see what's going on then.
I mean, I think you could wait to see it out in the theater. I don't think even though it is a good looking movie. Mm-hmm. And I'd be interested to see what else this director does, because again, it's... let me see. This is the first one. I'm not sure. But all that being said, it's a film I've thought about a lot. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, of course not. Any movie that I think I've said this to you on the show. Any movie that makes you walk out of the theater and discuss is a good film.
Sure.
And this is his only film.
We'll get to another one like that here in a few. But first we'll do, that's it for Pig. Go see it. I think it's worth seeing. Apparently a lot of people love it more than I do. But I do think you should see it if you're listening to this and you're on the fence about it. Yeah. So.
Pig.
A good performance by Nicolas Cage, though, by the way. Really good. But now we can do Fear Street Trilogy. Yeah. Which you can introduce. I know a little bit about.
Yeah.
I've watched half of the first one. So.
Oh, you said you saw the first one? No. So Netflix's big summer film, but summer event was R.L. Stine's Fear Street, or based on the Fear Street books.
Which I haven't read.
Yeah, I mean, I read
Goosebumps, but I didn't read.
Yeah, I also did. Again, R.L. Stine became big when I was going into college. I was like 19, 20. Not 19, 20. I was 19 or 20. And I never read, I think the Slappy book was the only one I ever read because everyone talked about it. And then when Gloriana was getting older, she got all the books. We actually went to a garage sale recently, and she got a nice little set of all those things. Fear Street's in them.
Oh, that's cool.
So I never read them. But again, it's a little anthology, and it's kind of cool. It sets up a story. In 1994, we start off, and there is apparently Sarah Fear they all have this like little legend that she's a witch, and anything bad that happens to the town of, what was it, Sunnyvale and Shadyvale?
Yeah,
it was kind of cheesy.
So similar. But.
Yeah, like there was the hoity-toity rich kids are in Sunnyvale, and the regular Joes, working class, are in Shadyville. And Shadyville's been cursed forever. And so you get at that first story, of course, the rah-rah, they got LGBTQ characters, the lead characters in love with the girl from the right side of the track. So that's kind of cool. Her brother, the kid from Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, he's like a little nerd who's, he's on like a conspiracy theory when the internet first started. It's got all those little things, but it's really good in the aspect that, and you haven't seen all of them, but it's like one great homage to the classic horror films that we grew up with.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, and it's like Scream is the opening.
Mm-hmm. There's literally a Scream reference. And it's like this shot for shot.
Exactly.
Which is almost eye rolling, but at the same time, kind of fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And then after the story unfolds, you get a lot of, later on, there's some Shining, you get, of course, Friday the 13th, you get Freddy Krueger. But I did dig that. Like, I like the second part the best, the 19s, what was it, 76 one, because of the whole, that was like straight up when I was growing up, Halloween, Friday 13th, and the characters, like the killer guy, I forget his name, the potato sack killer. He was really cool, and I like that. I like the references,
is each film is each film its own movie, or are they the same characters in each?
So yes and no.
Well, they're all obviously it's each movie. That's a stupid question, but is it like, do the characters from the first one, are they in the second and third?
So as I was saying, yes and no. What we get 1994, and the big reveal at the end of 1994 is someone survived this curse.
Okay.
And that person's story takes place in 1976.
Okay.
And then we see that play out. And the characters of the adult characters in 94 are the teenagers in 76.
Okay.
With the main characters of 94 showing up in the beginning of the episode and then at the end after the story's told.
Okay.
The end of 76 then gives you the big reveal to 1666, which is the beginning of Sarah Fear and the witch and what happened to her.
Okay.
And in that one, everybody you met in part 1 and part 2 are there in 1666.
Okay.
So the lead character becomes Sarah Fear, and then you see everything through her eyes. And it's good. I mean, I liked it. We enjoyed it. There was a couple of jump scares here and there. Like I said, the homages are amazing.
It looks really good.
Yeah. It is like a nice, even new touches. Like I said, one thing I liked about it, which again, I'm not sure you're an American Horror Story fan. I think you were.
I've seen 5 seasons.
Yeah. So it had something like that, which I liked, because like they referenced other murderers and killers, but not where we saw them. Like I think we see 6 or 7 of the murderers throughout are in all 3, but they also show like this little boy with a mask, and he's like the creepiest one. And I'm like, I want to see that. But I mean, I guess maybe it's another Fear Street book, but sorry.
So there's some lore to it.
There's lore. There's
That's
a lot of
fun.
lore, which I would like to see. Like I said, with American Horror Story, where other seasons talk about the other seasons.
Sure.
And I dig that. I like this universe, that we get. So I thought that was kind of promising, and I'm pretty sure this was a big hit. Pretty sure we'll see Fear Street, the other years and stuff like that. But
Gotcha.
But yeah, I enjoyed it, and like I said, I saw it with all the kids. We did it every other night. We saw it part because we actually, the first one, like we didn't sit down until the third one was about to premiere. So we saw the first 2, and then we saw the third one a couple of days later. And I enjoyed it. It's fun for, like I said, you would dig it. I think, like I said, since you liked American Horror Story, but you also like the homages to the classics, I think you would dig that. Very gory for a kid thingy.
I like that.
Yeah, because did you see the full part 1 or no? You said no.
I watched about an hour of it.
An hour. So at the end of it, and again, the spoiler because it's on Netflix, and if you don't see it, that's your fault. But one of the killers takes one of the good characters, like one of the lead characters, and they put him through a bread slicer. And the gore is like, they don't, it's not like cut to. It's like you see it, all the blood and everything mushing up. And I thought it was really good. I mean, for, again, my kids, Emma's now at an age where she wants to see horror films, and JC nothing phases him. But I mean, it was kind of like the Giallos, the old, Dario Argento, the Italian films of the 70s where gore was number 1. I mean, the story was second place to that. And I like that too. I kind of dug that goriness, and and they actually mentioned Giallos in the second episode. But yeah, and then like the girl who survived in at the end of part 1, we see her story. She's a girl from Stranger Things. It had that Stranger Things feel as well, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah,
it's like a violent film for kids.
For kids, which is, we say that, we're like, well, that's not good. But I mean, it was. I enjoyed it. Like I said, the kids weren't like, oh, and they didn't have nightmares. They would like kind of dug that. And like I said, it was fun. It wasn't too scary. I mean, it was gory, but that was kind of cool about that,
Sure.
So, but yeah. So that was Fear Street 1, 2, and 3, and I liked it, and I hope they do go deeper into the Fear Street stories with those other characters we saw, but we didn't get to see,
Yeah. I was incredibly put off by the lead character of Fear Street, mostly because of her anger towards her girl or ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
For no reason.
What do you mean? There's no reason.
Well, she moved away.
Yeah, but yes, that you said that's silly. But remember, she moved away and she closeted herself.
Sure.
And so everything was blamed on her, like, oh, you attacked me, you kissed me, I didn't, but that kind of thing. I understand. I'm just saying,
completely ridiculous. I mean, now I get that it's like a high school movie and high school, but I just, there was like all of a sudden this extreme anger towards this character. And when you find out what it is, I was just like, it's kind of your fault. That wasn't just that scene. It's just that character is so aggressive for so much of the movie.
That I agree. I mean, she was very,
and she's the lead.
So again, I don't even want to go there, but yeah, because Grunge came out in '91, so you have that grungy girl. She actually wears so she's like, Rage Against the Machine. I guess you have that character who's angry and everything. But in the end, she's right. I mean, I don't know if we're going to spoil the ending and who the bad guy is.
Don't do that, because I might see it.
Yeah, you want to see it. But I'm saying that she's angry, and you're right. I mean, I still feel that in this day and age, without being PC or whatever, angsty for angsty's sake. And then, like I said, she's gay and her lover doesn't want to own up to it. She's dating the high school quarterback.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. He gets killed off so early. It's just like, this is...
But then you're like, oh, well, he's not the killer. Who is the killer? Until you find out it's supernatural and based. But yeah.
I like the gore. The
gore is really good.
I mean, I like the look of it a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe I need to finish it. But I
Did you see it with Marissa? No.
Yeah, and halfway through, we were just kind of like, we could watch Ted Lasso instead.
I want to see that.
Which is fantastic, by the way.
I want to see Ted Lasso.
Not bad though. I don't think it's bad by any means. And I think if I was a teen, it's kind of like the MTV Scream series.
Yeah.
It kind of in terms of like just tonally, that it's definitely not made for adults, really.
Which is funny because that series we watched, and that wasn't even as gory. I mean, there was a couple of jump scares, but it wasn't gory, and I hated it for that.
I mean, more like the story and the characters.
No, but yeah, you're right. You're right with all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like, this feels like if I was 14, I'd be like, wow, this is gory and violent, and this is cool.
Yeah.
But as an adult, I'm kind of like, I could be watching Ted Lasso.
and you did. You watched.
But maybe I'll revisit it.
Yeah, one day you're bored. You say, "Oh, let's finish watching Fierce."
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm all for these like kind of B movies to be released on Netflix at this level of quality, because they're not bad. They're really. In fact, like the opening scene was actually like done pretty well.
Yeah,
It looks pretty good. The Scream reference was kind of silly, but I do just because it's so obvious. Like, no, maybe not to kids of this generation. So that's, it is what it is. But to us horror fans, we're like, okay, he literally like, there's like the slow-mo shot where he goes and stabs her.
That was exactly it.
It's like 100%. Yeah. But yeah, I'll revisit it maybe at some point.
Yeah.
When we're done with Ted Lasso or something else. Ted Lasso's great, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'm going to watch it even more. I have it in my queue.
Do it.
You do it.
Let's get to Old.
I didn't see
M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
I didn't see it, but I want to. Unless you tell me different.
So Old is essentially a film about a family that goes to a secluded beach, and they find out that something might be up with this beach. If you've seen the trailer, and the title of it, I think, gives at least this aspect away. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that it may be causing them to age.
Yeah.
If anybody gets mad at me for spoiling that, I don't know what to tell you.
It's in the trailer. We know that.
Yeah, the trailer gives way too much away.
Yeah, I'll bet.
By the way,
I'll bet.
I get that you have to show some of it, but at the same time, like, if you had I don't think Marissa had any idea. I don't know. Maybe I'm contradicting myself because I don't know that she liked it either. Like I'm saying, I was going to say, maybe if you came into it having not seen the trailer and having no idea what was happening, you'd be more invested in it because it would take you a little bit longer to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
But it takes about 30 seconds to figure that out, and it takes away a fair amount of the drama. This is a silly film. It's enjoyable. The performances are all right. It's got Alex Wolff, and it's got Phantom Thread. What's her name? I'm going blank. The lead from Phantom Thread.
Lead, yeah. It's also got that the Spanish actor. What's his name? Garcelle.
Yeah, from he was in No and a couple of other things. It's got a strong cast, and I think it's a fun little experiment with a fun premise, and there's some effective moments that are tied into that premise, and not just like horrifying, like not just the horror aspects of it, but the actual kind of the drama of like losing your life before your eyes. That's a little scary, and I think it has some fun with that. It's nonsense though. This movie's it's one of those films where like people do things and you're like, all right, I guess that makes sense, but it doesn't feel motivated whatsoever by, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to like get into my nitpicks without spoiling things.
Yeah.
I'm tired of M. Night Shyamalan casting himself in his own movies.
Oh, he's in it too.
I think he has a problem with dialogue. He doesn't know how people speak.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand how to translate. Like, this is a problem in a lot of his films, other than like maybe Split, or is it Split? Right?
Split's the better one. Glass was
all right too.
Yeah.
Those I have less of a problem with his dialogue in those films, because I feel like he was like in his element with Split in terms of just, I mean, that was really strong from him, and I liked Glass as well, but this is kind of, I was hoping for what Split does well is that it's really isolated and it's very few characters. This movie does have a few too many characters, and when with him, like something like The Happening, which this isn't as bad as The Happening. I got to be very clear about that.
For a second I thought you said something different.
It's not good, but it's not like so bad that it's funny. It just rides this line of being kind of predictable and a little silly at times, and it has a lot of problems that I can't really get into without spoiling it. But Split, what's so effective about Split is that, again, it's very few characters, really strong performances. Like he's like directing the hell out of the movie, and in this, it just feels like he, like I said earlier, he doesn't know how people speak, and it's so frustrating to watch. And I'm not saying I didn't have a good time at moments, and I think there's some effective concepts at play. Like I do think the premise is really fun, which is why I wanted to see it. I was like, that looks fun. The trailer didn't impress me all that much, but I thought, maybe it'll be like Split. But when people start talking, it's eye rolling at times, which is not a new criticism of his, including this film. A lot of critics have the same opinion about it. Wait till Netflix. It's all right. Yeah. My interest in it has waned over time.
Yeah.
Because when we first walked out, I was like, and now I'm like, nah. So I don't know. I expect more from him. And there's, again, fun stuff here. The ending is ridiculous. I don't think it's worth your time. To be honest.
Okay.
I mean, maybe on Netflix or something like
for
that.
Free,
yeah, for free. Don't spend money on this movie.
Gotcha.
Like I did.
Sorry, bro.
And then the last film on our list before we get to the top 10 A24 films, the reason we're doing the top 10 A24 films is the long-awaited release of The Green Knight, which is, I'm already going blank on his name. I had it in my head 3 minutes ago, but I forgot. David Lowery?
The director?
Yeah, he did A Ghost Story.
Yeah, David Lowery, yeah.
I think he directed A Ghost Story. He definitely wrote it.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. A film that I have very similar criticisms about. The Green Knight is... It's obviously a period piece. If you've seen the trailer, it's a film about a man who strives to be a knight, And one Christmas morning, this Green Knight wanders into the castle, and presents the king and all of his knights with a game, in which he will allow them to take one swing at the knight. And then if they hit him a year later, he gets to inflict the same hit on whoever does this. Dev Patel, right, is the lead.
Yeah.
He stands up to the challenge, and he cuts off the knight's head. It's in the trailer.
It's in the trailer. Okay.
And a interesting adventure ensues. He has a year to go on a quest to find the Green Knight and take him on, essentially, is the premise of the film.
Again?
Yeah.
I go, go
sure.
On. All right, yeah. All right, sure, right.
It's not a very plot-driven movie.
So is the Green Knight, it's supernatural?
Like, everything I've just told you happens in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. But I'm saying again, so the Green Knight because you said he cuts off his head.
So in the trailer, you see him hold his head up.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I saw that. I didn't know it was in the beginning, but yeah.
That's fair, and maybe that's a spoiler, and I apologize for anybody, but it is in the first 10 minutes of the film, and it sets up the whole premise of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, it's not a very plot-driven movie. It reminds me of, is it Sir Redwell? They're books. They're like adventure books.
Yeah, it's based on the story of the Gawain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I know nothing about.
You're not into the Knights of the Round Table?
No, do you know anything about it? I'd be curious to see.
Okay, so
hear.
I'm not gonna lie. I know about Camelot. I know about
sure.
I don't know anything about the Knights' quest before they came or after they're sent off.
Okay.
So I see that it says here, a fantasy retelling of the medieval story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. I know Sir Gawain was on the Round Table, but
it's a film that it has kind of an overlying premise, and then it sends him on this adventure on his own, and he comes across almost like little side missions, like you'd see in something like The Witcher, essentially, which is what I'm playing through right now. And this movie does make me want to go back and play The Witcher. Because it's like, I don't know, he goes on like these little mini missions. And that's not what happens, but it's essentially, you have this loose plot, and then there's these little side missions that happen along the way. And I think this film's runtime's like 2 hours and 10 minutes or something like that. And it is fucking beautiful to look at. First of all, if you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's stunning, and it's shot by the guy who did Ghost Story, and it shows off throughout the entire thing just spectacular visual sequences that are just really impressive to look at. And that's a really strong, like, without that, this film would have nothing aside from good performances. Everybody's really good in it. Like, you've got what's her name from
Alicia Vikander.
Alicia, I think she's great in everything.
She's good.
She plays two roles in this, and she's very good in both of them. And the reason I wish you would see this. I wish you'd see it in theaters. So and I'm trying not to spoil anything.
Don't spoil it, bro.
But I was incredibly bored. Which is not what I don't think anyone expected from this movie. Is that it's a straight through and through art film.
Oh, okay.
With a fun, loose plot. But it feels like, so imagine if, like, Lord of the Rings. Well, you've seen Lord of the Rings.
The first one.
Because I told you the premise.
Yeah.
There's not much of a story there.
Yeah.
But there is an adventure there. And I think all these side missions that he goes on thematically tie in with what's happening.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily obstacles. Like conflict, it doesn't feel like there's a strong conflict to the film, which is very strange.
Okay. Not that he has to face the night at the end.
Yeah. But what I mean is like so in a traditional narrative, you have like in the first act alone, you'll have like 3 things that the character has to overcome, and then they get to act 2, and 3 more things that they have to overcome. You get to act 3. And like the story that I just told you has like, again, it doesn't feel like it has much of a narrative. And there's like these little side missions, like I said, that are really visually spectacular, and I think they thematically fit in with what's happening, but they don't necessarily. There just doesn't feel like there's much of a plot, especially as you're watching it. When the film ends, I think a lot of it makes more sense, obviously, and I would love to see it again. I'm gonna give myself a few days. Because I can't stop thinking about this film, and I don't feel the way I did with Pig, where I was almost annoyed by the fact that I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I didn't know, with Pig, I didn't know what to expect, and I walked in and it was a completely different film. Green Knight, the trailer kind of sets it up. I compared it to Drive, actually, which is a movie that it sets up as like this straight through and through action film, and it's not that at all. It's a romantic art film with some incredible violence, and same thing with Green Knight. But it doesn't have. It's not the exciting adventure film that there's exciting moments, but it's everyone I went with felt incredibly cold when we left. But then we started talking about it, and I feel like it sunk in a little more. Not only the meaning of those little side missions I was talking about, which are, they all fit in thematically with what's happening. Yeah. And I know I'm rambling here. And when we talk about this more, once you see it, we'll spoil it. We'll have a deeper and hopefully I'll see it again by then, so we can have a deeper conversation about it. So even Marissa noticed this. One of my biggest complaints, I can't finish a ghost story. I've never been able to do it. I get it. I get why people like it. It's interesting. You liked it?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Interesting.
He's like, okay.
There's a sequence where, I think it's Rooney Mara. I forget who's in that. Yeah, it's Rooney Mara, where she takes out the trash, and she like walks down the driveway and takes out the trash and then walks back into the building or into the house. And we watch the entire thing unfold. I love cinema, and I love cinematography, and I love a well-composed shot. Like I love Westerns. I love, I love all those things, but you gotta know when to edit your movies. But there's a point where there's a shot in this film that's a full minute long almost. And I guess the point of it is that we feel the distance he's traveled in the shot, but it's like, get on with it. It's frustrating, man. I'm not
trying to think if I asked you
long one takes, like beautiful one takes. That I get that. That's different. This is not that. This is not like plot motivated.
No. So have I ever asked you, are you into the art house film?
It depends.
And with the extension, which is where I'm going to go now with this, are you into the beginnings of art house film?
I don't know about that. I'm not familiar enough with it.
So, and again, listen, I'm from New York. Everyone knows that already. And it has nothing to do with it because Andy Warhol, to me, is New York, but he's also was the first person to say, well, I'm going to put a camera in a toilet bowl and watch people piss all day long, and you're going to watch it. And then he went, well, now you're going to see them shit. And I the extension of art house film like that, because a Ghost Story is that. It's the equivalent. It
is absolutely, yeah.
But I'm saying I think I dig it because, I worked at the Shitney for 16 years. I watched every art film made from 1922 all the way to current times. And there's something about that to me that is what the invention of film was. The first film that shocked people in the audience was a train coming into the station. And that was like, 5 minutes, maybe, 3 minutes. But the point was, that's what the art house film began. And then, of course, plot and story. And then you got, things like The Godfather, Citizen Kane. But I mean, I actually have an akin for watching something happen in real time for art's sake. For say, look, I'm going to shoot this girl walking down and throwing out the garbage, and then she's going to come back. And
we're gonna film the whole thing
nonstop, and you're gonna see the genius of just that.
Yeah,
and you could turn around and say, "Well, I can do that right now. I can throw the garbage. I can throw the movie in the garbage," and you can see me doing that. But I dig that. I dig art house. I dig the art of cinema, I guess, or the cinema of art. And I kind of dig that. I know you don't, and that's why I said that.
But I also, my favorite filmmaker is Paul Thomas Anderson. So, I mean,
and there is an extension of that with him. Yeah,
I mean, but like, there's a sequence. It's just like there's a sequence in this where the plane reverses, where the movie flips upside down, and when it started spinning, I went, "Oh, we're gonna watch the whole spin," and it's like. I get it.
I want to see this movie.
This movie's already 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
Yeah, it's long.
And like I've talked about this with Tarantino to my friend. I don't know if I've actually talked about it on the show. I love Quentin Tarantino. He's one of my favorite filmmakers, but he's also one that has when you get to 2.5 hours, when you're watching it and you're bored, and I'm not saying, I mean, I wasn't like falling asleep. I mean, I was kind of falling asleep. And I don't think it's a boring film, but there's moments in it where you're like, this could be cut a minute here, and then a minute here, and a minute here, and then you start going, all right, we could cut 10 minutes out of this, and it would be a masterpiece. That being said, I sound like I'm just shitting on this movie. I'm not. I think it's really interesting. I could be convinced that this is a masterpiece. Legitimately, I think. Yeah. I think in 10 years, I think we'll look at this as an incredible achievement in filmmaking. In fact, I would even compare it to something like 2001 in terms of just the visual spectacle that it is. Yeah. Reminds me of watching a film like that and going, "Wow, I can't believe that's on screen." There's moments like that in this throughout.
Yeah.
I can't spoil. This would be a spoiler. There's a scene where we watch a character sleep for an entire day, and that's it. And it's like,
then I'm 100%. I definitely ought to read up on Lowry then, because that is Warhol. That is the cinema of life. I mean, not that I enjoyed watching someone piss for 16 hours or some shit for 12, but he did that. And you're telling me that someone slept and we watched, how many minutes?
I'm not arguing that it's not art.
No. And I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that I dig that he did that, because that's what I love about Ghost Story.
You need to go watch The Master and There Will Be Blood and all these movies again. Because those at least have more of a plot. They look great.
Okay, well, you're saying something else now, but I mean, same thing with Kubrick.
I'm
2001.
All I'm doing is rebutting your denial of Paul Thomas Anderson's later works.
His later works.
Yeah.
He knows I love Paul Thomas Anderson.
But that's something we'll never agree on.
Amen.
My point being, it's just funny that you like this level of art house, but you don't like Paul Thomas Anderson's level of art house in terms of, like Boogie Nights isn't an art house film, and neither is Magnolia. Might be.
Not. Magnolia is. Boogie Nights is not, to a point where it's more of a biopic in a way, and
sure,
and that's why I think.
But those movies are.
Magnolia can be.
What's the word? Frenetic. They're like, they have an energy to them, and they're exciting, and they're. Whereas I'm we're going on a tangent here for no reason, because this has nothing. It really has nothing to do with The Green Knight. The Green Knight just is languid. Is that the right word?
Nice word, languid. Yeah.
And it's like, I think it could cast a spell on you, or you could be completely bored. It's a hard sell. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at here. It's not what the trailer promises, and it's like if you gave it a cinema score, which is like what I think that's what they like review trailer. Like when people come out of the theater, they say like, what score would you give that in comparison to its trailer? And people like this would get like a fucking F, like a flat fucking F, because it's
the film compared to the trailer.
Yes,
the film gets an F. Okay.
The film is not an F. I think it's a strong B plus.
B plus, okay.
Maybe masterpiece. Yeah. You know, it's like it's one of those that I think the more I think about it, the stronger it gets. But I found myself twiddling my thumbs at moments, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
But that being said, there's so much great. The Dev Patel's great. Yeah. Alyssa Vikander is great. Joel Edgerton shows up for a scene.
Yeah, he's in there. Yeah.
Great cast, spectacular visuals. I mean, it's really like I thought that this was like a seasoned cinematographer. Not that he isn't. I mean, you can't like shoot a ghost story and then having done nothing. So that's kind of I just phrased that wrong, but like I thought this was like Hoytvin Hoytema or somebody, but yeah, he's like he's like my age.
Yeah, Andrew Blammo.
And this thing looks better than half the shit Roger Deakins has done. I mean, it's spectacular. Yeah. It really is. And I don't want to discredit that. I mean, I know that that's in every review that you've read about this movie that it looks good, and it really does. But it's a slow burn.
Yeah.
And I don't think people are expecting that. Mm-hmm. But if you expect that, you might like it even more.
Yeah.
Having seen it once, I absolutely want to see it again on the big screen. Yeah. We went and saw it at Draft House. It was a great time. And we talked about it the whole way home. When you see it, we'll bring Andrew, my business partner / he also works for me. He went and saw it with us, and I'll bring him on, and we'll just chat about, because there's also it's based on a short story.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to unpack. And I don't. It's without spoiling this thing, we can't really dive into all the things that I do want to talk about it. And I think it's worth. I think we could do a whole show on this movie. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's strong praise.
Yeah.
So
done.
That's my long-winded review.
10 minutes, but it's all right.
Should we just do a top 5?
We're gonna have to do something, but yeah, we can do a top 5.
Top 5 A24 films.
I can do that. I mean,
I'll just cut my list in half, or we could just go.
Let's go.
Let's just go
real quick through the first 5.
Yeah,
or from bottom 10 to 5
without summary. Just you'll say it and you'll go. This is good.
I'll start, and then you say, but I'll say one-line burb. We're going to do one-line burbs about the film.
All right.
So I'm going to start off Spring Breakers.
Oh, interesting.
Because I have to have Harmony Korine on my list.
Fair enough.
I grew up with them. Go.
Interesting. The Farewell.
Yeah, I know you dig that film.
Yeah.
My number 9 is Tusk, because I got to have Kevin Smith on my list.
Okay. Interesting. A Most Violent Year.
Oh, I almost had that, yeah. My number 8 is the movie we're all talking about, A Ghost Story, Larry's other film.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I love that film.
I want to love that movie. I do.
Yeah, I saw that.
Can't bring. I don't get it. I flat out. I just don't get it. But maybe if I watched it as like just an art house experiment.
Art house experiment. Yeah.
Maybe. Ex Machina.
Number 8.
Number 8.
Interesting. Oh, my thing shut off. So my number 7 is Swiss Army Man, because I love Paul Dano.
I do love Paul Dano.
Yeah.
Speaking of Paul Thomas Anderson, Paul Dano, There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood. But also Little Miss Sunshine. All great movies.
Yeah, Paul Dano's great. I saw there's a meme of I Think You Should Leave season 2. Have you watched that yet? I Think You Should Leave season 2.
Oh no, not yet.
God damn it!
I'm sorry.
Well, then this is for no one. But there's a great meme of Paul Dano. There's a sequence where in season 2 where Tim Robinson does the Blues Brothers. He's trying to like cheer up a party where people are getting upset at one another. It's like Conor O'Malley and his wife. They're like start to yelling. He's like, I know what I can do, and he starts doing the Blues Brothers dance. It's ridiculous. And there's a point where he puts on sunglasses and the hat from Blues Brothers, and Conor O'Malley's dog starts barking, and he's like, it's like he put on the sunglasses and the hat, and he's a completely different man. The dog starts doesn't recognize him anymore because he put on the sunglasses and the hat. And somebody posted a meme of Paul Dano, and it's like he's a completely different person, and it's the There Will Be Blood character. It's for anyway. This is for no one.
For no one.
You got to watch all those things though. Paul Dano's great.
Yeah. 7. What's your 7?
First Reformed.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, yeah, it is. It's on my list. Number 6 is Enemy.
Enemy, yeah.
Yeah, and I know you got that on yours. What's your number 6?
The Lobster.
Okay. I love it. I laugh all the time.
It could be way higher.
I'm surprised that you have it as number 6.
Well, but this is a strong list. A24 has got some good.
Yeah, they do. I agree
stuff.
with that. So then I'll do 5, and we can talk a little bit about it.
Sure.
Because I know you dug this. So my number 5 is Green Room.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
And I dug Green Room a lot. I was kind of surprised. I was in New York. I was in my sister's house. I was chilling. And my brother-in-law was like, oh, have you heard about this film? And I was like, no. And he's like, oh, I heard it has to do with neo-Nazis. And I said, oh. And
Nazi punks.
But it's like really good. It's a really good story. It's in a nice confined space. Patrick Stewart's amazing in it, but so is what's
the
his name?
lead? Yeah, he's rest in peace.
Sulu. Not Sulu. Chekhov. What's his name? Oh my God, I hate that I don't know.
I know,
but he's also good in Thomas. But he was it's just such an amazing film. And
what's his name? Look that up.
Yeah, I know. We're talking about it. It's like
Green Room is spectacular. I that could also be on this list easily.
Yeah,
that's a film that like shook me to my core. Like the violence in that film is some of the most brutal violence I've ever seen on screen.
Amen.
Like other than The Raid, it's like
Anton Yelchin.
Anton Yelchin. There you go.
Rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace. Green Room's great.
Yeah. So what's your number 5?
Number 5 is Midsommar.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had a nightmare last night based on Midsommar.
Oh, really?
And I woke up and I asked Rhonda to switch places with me on the bed so I'd be away from the door. I was scared. What do you have to say about Midsommar?
There's just no, other than like what it's obviously referencing, which would be like Nicolas Cage has a shitty remake of it, Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man.
Horror movies don't look like this.
Yeah, agreed.
It's 3 hours long with the director's cut. Masterpiece.
And I enjoy that. I like the longer cut too.
Oh, I don't know if we ever talked about that.
No. Well, no,
I talked about it when I saw it in theaters, but I don't think you had seen it yet.
And I loved it. I like the longer version better.
Me too.
I actually do. So my number 4 is First Reformed.
Oh yeah,
you hooked me onto that one. I love Ethan Hawke. He's such a great director, actor. Why he's a good director too.
Well, and it's the directors. He wrote Taxi Driver.
Paul Schrader. Is the director of First Reformed, and I love Paul Schrader because of Taxi Driver, hardcore.
Although
blue collar.
I love him, but he made one of the stinkiest movies I've seen in recent years with Willem Dafoe. And it's so bad. What is it? I don't even remember the name of it. We watched it one day and turned it off. It was I think it's Nicolas Cage, Willem Dafoe.
Oh my God, what is that? Well, yeah, I remember that, Paul Schrader.
Oh, it's just rotten to the core. Like the most unlikable characters in a film in recent memory. I mean, it's just like I don't know what it's called.
Hold on, now I'm going to find this movie. Schrader. Okay. First Reformed. What was the other movie that you're talking about? Not Affliction. That's a good movie.
No.
The Dying of the Light.
I think so.
Yeah, that's Nick Cage.
No, not that one.
Okay, so let's see.
That one stinks too. But was that also him?
Yeah, so let's see. Oh, Doggy Dog.
Yeah.
Doggy Dog. That's right. You love that movie. That was like,
rotten.
rotten to the core.
Anyway, First Reformed is a master. I think that movie is a masterpiece.
I dig it. And Amanda Seyfried is really good in it. It's so, and it's dark. I love the ending.
It's really gloomy and just everything's like overcast.
Yes.
It's shot in 4:3, I think. And it's just like it just feels claustrophobic in a way, in the way that the character is trapped by his own religion.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really good.
Why is it on the bottom of your list, bro?
Do what?
Why is it so low on your list? That's my question.
Oh, I mean,
what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Enemy.
Okay, I know. Yeah, you would dig that. I thought it'd be higher, but okay.
That's fair. But I mean, the next. I mean, there's one in here that I could easily move around, but it's a film that just I don't know.
So my number 3 is Ex Machina.
Okay. Yeah, it was great.
And again, it's another great 70s type ending. A good, solid sci-fi, but you get lost in the drama between Dominic Lee Hall and
Domhnall Gleeson and Alicia
Vikander. And
directed by
what's his name?
He wrote Sunshine and 28 Days Later.
Alex Garland.
Yeah, Garland.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is The Witch.
Which I had to knock out for her to. Well, go on.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I knocked it out.
I know what you mean.
I said I want a horror film on the list, but since Ghost Story is not a horror film, and neither is Tusk. Yeah. So my number 2 is not surprising because you turned me on to it and I loved it. Under the Silver Lake.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. I love that movie.
Yeah, I do too.
I watched it like 3 or 4 times now.
Underrated film.
Yes, very underrated.
It's a film that got mistaken for a misogynistic piece of shit movie because its main protagonist is a misogynist.
Yeah.
And that's very conflicting, but it's also the point of the film is that he's kind of a piece of I'm referencing I Think You Should Leave. He used to be a piece of shit.
I just love that it's
just I think the movie didn't get credit. It's very
like,
Mulholland Drive.
Like if it's Brick, if Brick was made by David Lynch, it's really good.
It looks great. It's directed by the guy who did It Follows.
It Follows, yes, that was his follow-up.
Yeah, and I just feel like it didn't get the credit that it deserved. It is a little long, and it's a little. It reminds me of. It also reminds me. It could be like a great double feature, even though it'd be like a 5-hour double feature with Inherent Vice.
Ooh, nice, yeah.
Because it kind of goes into like the seedy underbelly of L.A. It is. I think Inherent Vice is L.A. too, right?
Yeah. That's not bad. I should do that because I love Inherent Vice.
But I like Inherent Vice more than Under the Silver Lake. But that's just me, obviously.
It's okay.
But Under the Silver Lake's great, and I think more people should see that thing.
Definitely.
It's on Amazon.
Amazon all the time. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Uncut Gems.
Yes.
Have you seen that yet?
That's why it's not on my list because I haven't seen it. I only did the ones I've seen.
Man, I just bought it. I think I have a digital copy, so I think it's on. It should be on my Amazon now.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, it's still on Netflix.
It's one of the most stressful films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that's close would be Good Time, which is the Safdie brothers' previous film. But it's like financially stressful, and it's just people talking over one another, and it's just greasy and frustrating, and it's like you want to punch the main protagonist. I think Mark Kermode described it as watching somebody fall downstairs for 2 hours, and I couldn't agree with that more. Uncut Gems is astonishingly good for a second feature from the Safdie brothers, because I think Good Time was that their first or second film?
I think it's their second film, because I think that's
maybe they've made more than that. I'm not sure, but Uncut Gems is just incredible, and I think so my top 5 could be rearranged in almost any order. I think because The Witch I think could certainly be number 2 for me. The only one that's locked in for me is number 1, which I think we're both going to agree on.
Yeah, I think it is. Let me go here because I just want to see if they did do more. Good Time. No, they did Heaven Knows What.
Is that a feature?
This is director. Yeah, as a director. So he's done another film.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually their 4th. Good Time is their 3rd, and Uncut Gems would be their 4th. Yeah. So our number 1 film, I'm assuming, is Hereditary.
Yep.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. We agreed on something, bro.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Like I said, I mean, I know you didn't.
So The Witch isn't on your list?
The Witch was, and Midsommar was, but Midsommar got automatically knocked out because Hereditary.
For Tusk?
Come on, bro. Give me a minute. I enjoy Tusk. I love laughing at Tusk. I mean, you may not, but I kind of dig it. And Kevin Smith, I got to throw him a bone. I mean, he doesn't show up on.
What was your number
list.
10 again?
My number 10 was. Hold on, go back to my list. Spring Breakers.
Okay, I do like Spring Breakers a lot.
Yeah, I know you dig that too.
Yeah, I don't know, but The Witch is like.
Oh, it's an amazing film.
I think we'll talk about The Witch 10 years from now.
Oh yeah.
You know, like it's one of those movies that, like, and then when we do our top 10 of the decades list, like, I mean, Hereditary. There'll be other films, but I think The Witch is one that will stick around for a long time.
And don't get me wrong, I love The Witch. I love it more than Lighthouse. I think The Witch is better than Lighthouse. But
I think so too. Although The Lighthouse is wonderful, and that almost made my list, but each of these films, I think The Lighthouse will, I think, also be in that discussion. I think I've seen it 3 times now.
Yeah.
And the more I watch it, the more I like it. It's a strange fucking movie, but
I think everyone always goes to The Witch though as their favorite over The Lighthouse.
That's fair.
They talk about it, yeah. But with Hereditary, I think, I mean, and even though you talked it up, I mean, you didn't need to because I wanted to see it. I just felt like it was the first time in so long. Even like I said, Conjuring was like that. Oh, this is the greatest scary movie I've seen in years.
Nothing on Hereditary.
Hereditary, it's like, I literally, and I swear, I wish, you know how you wish you could have gone back? I wish I set up a camera and watched myself see the film.
Yeah.
Because I
covered my mouth at one point.
My youngest, like I said, she was getting into horror, but she was still scared. She heard me and Gloriana just like gasping, and she came out because she thought something was wrong, and she just saw our faces. Like the whole sequence with Alex Wolff and his sister when they go to the party. It's like I'm like, oh, this is a dream sequence. And then I'm like, oh, no. I said, this. I said, no, yeah, this is like a... And you keep on until finally when you realize it's all real. And Toni Collette screams in the morning. Ugh. And even after she screams, I'm like, oh, no, they're going to wake up. This is going to be where he wakes up. And it keeps going. You're like, what the fuck just happened? And I was... Never have I seen anything like that.
Yeah,
and
just the way it's presented. Because I mean, you can spoiler alert for Hereditary. You can kill kids in movies, but no one does it as well as Ari Aster.
Yes, I agree with that.
I mean, this is like, it's like bone chilling. Yes. I mean, like I literally, like, I've never had my, like, the term jaw drop in the theater.
Yes.
Like that's it was a visceral reaction to that sequence.
I would definitely jaw dropping. I don't use normally unless I'm looking at a girl and I say, oh, you're jaw dropping gorgeous. But this is literally what I did. It's like my mouth was open, and like you said, you would cover. I was like, at some point, I was like, I kept saying, this is not happening, and Gloriana was like, what the fuck is we watching?
And it's like, it's a movie about like a mother that that's like instinctually trying to get rid of her own children.
Yeah, which is interesting. Yeah,
horrific.
And I like when the movie, because the movie on the top is like Rosemary's Baby in the action. It's more of a thriller and then at the end when it just goes full throttle, like fuck you. Now you're gonna see a horror film, and it's just amazing. And Toni Collette, when she gets possessed, oh my god, it's all this, like the whole sequence of her being in the background. It's like you're watching Alex Wolff because he's such a good actor, and I'm getting goosebumps.
I know, me too.
And I'm like, your eyeball just goes upward. I'm like, what's that? And Gloriana says, what's that? And I said, oh my God, Glo, that's the mother. And she's like, she starts screaming because it's the mother on the wall and the ceiling. And I'm like, I was like, this movie. I was just like, this is one of the greatest films I've ever seen, and not even horror film, just a film that I've never seen a film like it. I hope I see something almost like it, but it's to this day, like when the movies came out 3 years ago now. I just think it's one of the greatest films of all time. I even put, like I said, A24. If you give me a list like, horror films, that'll be there. If you give me a film like dramatic, it's going to be there. Thriller, it's going to be there. Because
it deals with like family grief.
It's like the whole thing is about losing and loss and grief. And like, you know, she loses her mom, and she's not really cool with her mom, so it's kind of like, oh, good. But then she loses her daughter, and that's like worse. And then, you know, she wishes her son is dead, and I'm like, and her husband, she's like, she doesn't have respect for him. It's just
got
amazing.
it all.
Yeah, it's Hereditary. I mean, and Ari Aster, you know, I mean, Midsommar was really good as well. I love Midsommar. I still say Hereditary is better, but I can't wait to see his third movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and whatever it is, I'm going to be there to see it. It's amazing. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it.
Yeah, that was our.
I guess we ended up doing top 10, but whatever.
Well, we did. We
kind of.
we covered.
I think we did it well.
Yeah, we did a good job with it. Only because, guys, what's it, an hour and a half now, right? Maybe a little more. We don't want to go over 2 hours.
Yeah, we're an hour and a half.
Yeah, an hour and a half. So.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So, hopefully, again, we do this next week. I know that me and Jeremy have schedules in life, but next week we come back, talk more about film, and you know, I know you enjoy it, bro. I know it's there. So until next time, I'm Carlos Hernandez.
And I'm Jeremy Knight.
And you guys have a great one. You take care. Bye.